Playoffs are here, boys. Welcome in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. So, I'm here hosting for the playoff edition. I'm here alongside Coach Phenom. Say hello to the people, Coach Phenom.
Good to see you guys.
And along here with our regular season champion, Senor George Leonard. How you doing, sir?
Doing well. How's it going, fellas?
Awesome. Well, first and foremost is what we're playing for.
Oh, yeah.
Championship belt.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, we got name engraved over here. So let me put that up to the camera. Doesn't pick it up. But you get your name on a plaque and your team name and all that, and get to hold on to this for a year. But that being said, anything you want to add before we get started here, Phenom?
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a couple teams that are not in the playoffs, but next year, you might have the opportunity to get your name on that belt, boys.
There you go. I love it. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and share the screen, get to the rundown. And away we go. Another wonderful week. So just going to go over the matchups real quick from last week. Not much to say about my team. We're trending in the wrong direction, boys. Bad bye week, a lot of injuries. Milkman's on a roll. We talked about it nonstop, but we had a lovely rematch of the two of us this week. So I expect kind of the same outcome. One and done for me in the playoffs. Do I have any hope?
Probably not.
All right, cool. That's what I figured. So we'll just move on. In a shocker, Wuhan Weezer finds himself in the playoffs. No one saw that one coming. I definitely didn't. Breaks that 100-point barrier, gets the 107. Team Nate, he gets a good matchup to get the easy win. Guy quit on the league. It is what it is. But George, this is the team you're facing. Anything you see in this past week performance that scares you? Puts any fear in your bones?
No, he's got a decent team, but I think I got him.
Yeah, I would venture to say so. Phenom, anything to say about your fellow butt buddy?
Nothing too much. I'll touch on it some more when we get into next games. But yeah, I definitely figured this team probably had a shot to win the game this week, and I'm happy to see him make it into the playoffs. It just shows he's better than four of the other teams that were in this league, and there's a lot of smack talking on this team this year from some of those teams. So, but I am a little upset to see that in the group chat this past week, Team Nate basically admitted he hasn't been setting his lineup for the past couple weeks.
Yeah.
I think he had an opportunity to make it into the playoffs and slept on it. So.
Yeah, I mean, 6-8 got you in. He's 3 games off, but he mailed it in the last 6 weeks. So, but how about this, man? -5 from the defense. I know you gotta hate seeing that, Coach.
Yeah, that's a rough one right there. You can make some serious points down here just by plugging and playing week to week with these defenses and kickers, and when you go negative on there, there's nothing for that. Especially you knew you were up against a tough game with the Chargers, and Miami just didn't hold through.
Yeah, man. Just got a good matchup this week. But moving on to your matchup, I'll let you take the lead here.
Okay, so this was a tough game right here. I was happy to see that one of my quarterbacks decided to actually come play football this season. It has first game, where I've put up some serious points like that. But yet another week of my running backs not performing. So, this is a tough one. And then as far as my receiver core goes, I'm week to week on my wide receiver 2, and Metcalf has been solid up to this point, but we'll see how he does next week. I think he's got a little bit tougher of a defense he'll be up against, but for Dicker Downs, just talk about a letdown. Josh Allen did what he was supposed to do, but everyone thought with DeAndre Swift being back that he would get a lot more play than he did, and he got, in fantasy wise, got outbeat by the rookie Jameson Williams, and then the Cowboys defense, I think we had projected for that to probably crack out 15 points or something.
Yeah, we expected more out of that for sure.
It didn't happen. And then, the total letdown is you look down on the bench and you see he's got sitting there. This is a team that probably could or should be making a playoff run right now, and is going to be fighting for what order draft pick he's getting. So hate to see it happen, but solid team, so respect there.
Yeah, resident Cowboys fan. How are we feeling after that close game with Houston?
Win's a win.
There you go.
We didn't look great, but a win's a win.
Well, that's my week every week. But yeah, I mean, I think Dicker Downs, Travis Homer was a cute play. The fantasy gods, said he's going to be the star, and it didn't work out. And it just stinks to see that, Jerick McKinnon had an explosive day on the bench. And, that was the difference. If he starts McKinnon over Homer, he's in the playoffs. So it kind of, there's a lot that goes into that over the course of a season, but it just stinks to see. But yeah, it is a team that had a lot of problems, a lot of issues, and especially in the running back room, and it just couldn't overcome. But I'll let you take the lead here, George. Talk about your 12-2 record here and your last week's matchup.
I was a little bit worried about this one. Team Bucher's got a good team. Always know Joe Burrow is going to get me some points. ETN's been slacking a little while. Josh Jacobs is the man. Justin Jefferson, I mean, over 200 yards. Yeah, dog. Yeah, I thought it was going to be a little bit closer than it ended up being. I thought it could have gone either way, but happy to get the win.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, ETN's been a little bit of a struggle bus for you, kind of leaving you open a little bit. But I mean, your team's just so deep, man. It's even your bench players are all viable. So it's just you're the team to beat. I think your record shows that. Tough getting 0 out of Dortch there in the flex. Nothing really have any other options, but just tough week for Bucher. But he's a solid squad. Definitely going to be tough looking into the matchups for playoff against him. But just touch on this one real quick. Fentanyl sneaking his way in the playoffs is off to a hot start. Snuck his way in there. Thielen with a ton of injuries. Hey, he's in a tough spot. And Team Coleman, I feel for the guy. Team got hot at the end. And, just due to a head-to-head matchup he had earlier in the year against Wuhan is the reason he's out of the playoffs. So, tough to put up 147, dominate the day and get the bad news. You're not making the playoffs. But, 6-8, I wouldn't be that, you got to do a little better than 6-8 to make the playoffs, I feel. So, Not that 7-7 is anything great, but, just going to move through that one real quick. And then last one, Coach Phenom, I'll let you touch on this one since you're good buddies with both these managers and love their managerial styles.
Yeah, not surprised with the strategy that either team went with here, and honestly not surprised with the outcome. Risky Dipper's been, dipping all season long, had a little spike there. We saw a little hope thinking he might make a playoff run, but, he's trending down the same path he'd been going down. Mahomes, you can't rely on your quarterback for everything here. So if you look down the list, like Singletary, Buffalo's offense just hasn't been what it was earlier in the season. This guy keeps playing Mike Evans. He knows it's like not the smartest move, and he keeps banking on it. Tom Brady's just not the best quarterback.
Yeah, and a tough matchup against that San Fran defense is, that's tough for any player to make. So,
yep, it's just a tough one. And then
nothing out of Fant. Yeah, tough.
Yep. And I think he relies on that Broncos defense a lot of times, and they were up against Kansas City, so you knew they were putting up points. So either way, just I figured Rock Boys probably would have snuck in a little closer to that 120 margin, and I was kind of hoping to see Dipper crack 100. But either way, Rock Boys, moves on, sustains a spot as like a power hitter in this league, and
absolutely
continues the trend.
Yeah, I think he probably gets closer to that 120 if T. Higgins doesn't go down in the first quarter for the Bengals. Yeah. But now, Rock Boys again, another really strong team this year. He's going to have to go with Tua now. I don't think that would have differed anyway. Just how he's been playing it, but with Murray going down. But we'll see. Really strong team. Dipper, yeah, he showed some signs of life, but tough, good, put up a good fight, and he was in it till the end, but just didn't have enough. So, with that being said, we're in the playoffs, boys. We're going to look ahead at the matchups, and we're going to get in there. So here we go, just diving right in. We have the 8 seed versus the 1 seed. George, how we feeling? What are we thinking?
Feeling good. A little worried about McCaffrey, Pacheco. I think his players have better matchups against the teams they're playing this week. I have a couple tough ones. Not super nervous. I think I should win, but I definitely have some tough matchups. Be interesting to see how D-Hop does against who's Denver's corner?
Surtain.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that. Justin Jefferson is Justin Jefferson. He's gonna, do what he does.
Yep.
Little worried about ETN against Dallas's defense.
Yeah, touchdown dependent there. He's been so down too.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. I'm happy to see Wuhan get in, and yeah, I'm worried about McCaffrey and Pacheco. I think they could both have really big games.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think his running backs are both should be ranked ahead of mine this week.
Yeah.
Jacobs playing New England. New England's going to try to shut him down.
Oh, for sure. What do you see, Phenom?
Yeah, I think he's already hit on it for the most part. So with Samuel being out, I think that McCaffrey's going to get an increase in play. With Kansas City up against Houston, I think that Pacheco and Juju, you can project it at least, crack what they're projected for, if not maybe exceed it a little bit. But then, on the flip side, though, Burrow's he's up against Tampa Bay. He's going to walk all over him. So that's going to be huge right there. I'm expecting a big game for him. Justin Jefferson, with the way that Cousins was targeting them last week, just putting up massive points between those two. I think Jefferson's going to have another big game against Indy. And then my only, concern over here would be D-Hop with Kyler down. I'd be curious to see if he still gets the same amount of target share, but something tells me that he might be relied on even more for being one of the top pass catchers there. So I think we got a good match. Even though, I love seeing Wuhan win, I'm going to have to lean towards Connor on this one. This team's proven itself all year, and, I see it, probably cracking out 130 this week for sure. So.
Yeah, I kind of agree with both of you guys what you said, because I mean Wuhan definitely has his best players on good matchups this week, as opposed to where you're looking at guys playing you got Connor and Hopkins with a backup quarterback against Denver's stud defense. So just a lot of tough matchups up and down the board for your team. But I mean you got guys. But I will agree with you that McCaffrey and Pacheco do project out to have huge weeks. Just the tight end position's a problem for Wuhan. The quarterback position's a problem. Even the receiver, Thielen's pretty touchdown dependent at this point of his career, and Justin Jefferson demands so many touches that it's hard to not throw him the ball. But I do think Wuhan beats his projection this week. I think he might be floating in that 110, 115 range, which is something I haven't said about this team in the last month. But I do agree that Georgia's team is just kind of proven it, shown it that this team's going to be putting up, no matter who they're playing, between 120 and 140 pretty much week in, week out. And I think I lean that way. Connor Monteith's, doing his thing and keeping the favorite alive and moving on and knocking out Wuhan. But hey, I think it might be a little bit tighter than the projection is going to say.
I wouldn't be surprised if Wuhan plugs in Rodgers as well, being up against the Rams. So that's just
but still, I mean, Rodgers has been very.
It's very risky. Tannehill's played better, so it's a tough decision for him to have.
They're both not great, so it's neither is an option that you really want to have to make. But I agree that Connor's going to probably run that one and move on. So we're going to move to the 2v7 matchup next, and which is going to be Rock Boys versus Fentanyl. Kind of hit on this a bit with Fentanyl. Just a team that has a lot of guys. Got Brock Purdy in there for the start, so
I like that.
But he missed practice today, or he's limited in practice today, so he might not even be going. Going down the list here, he's got some decent matchups for some of his guys. Just his team's been underperforming the last, honestly, month. He slid from being in the third, fourth slot in the league down all the way to seventh, and kind of barely making it in. If he didn't get off such a hot start, I don't think he's in. But he's got the guys to be able to put up the points. He just hasn't been doing it. Will he? He very well could. This team's been so streaky. And Rock Boys, it's a team that's been consistent. So I always lean consistency when it comes to fantasy football and projecting out things. So I think the projection's probably about right here. Fentanyl might put up a little bit more because IU could probably find the end zone and gain some yards there with Purdy slinging the rock around out there. But no, I think Rock Boys handles business here. He's got a strong team, strong players, and God, Kelsey's going to eat against Houston. That's going to be ugly. What do you think, George?
Like you said, I think Kelsey's going to eat for the first half against Houston because they'll probably be up by so much they'll take him out. Yeah, I think Ayuk will have a good game. Brock Purdy looked good last week, but don't know if he'll repeat it. I have to lean towards Rock Boys in this matchup.
And not
He's
much.
just solid from top to bottom.
Yeah, it's got a lot of players, man. If you're throwing out Kelsey and Eckler every week, you're gonna have a good chance to win. But what do you think, Fino?
Yeah, if Purdy plays the way he played last week, I think we got a game.
Mm.
But the one thing I will say is that's very dependent. If he doesn't, there's not a whole lot of solid options left in the free agency. But I think that a lot of this game's going to ride on a couple things. So Tua's up against that Buffalo defense this week. Um,
He's looked really bad the last couple weeks too.
yeah, but that defense, is definitely going to be something to contend with. So we'll see how that fares out. That's one of his big, point making spots, and then another one is T. Higgins and Amari Cooper, and both are listed as questionable. So I think we'll have a pretty good idea. But I think if things stay the way they are, I'm leaning Rock Boys. But I think if he loses either one of his receivers due to sitting it out, then I think we got a game. And Fentanyl, he does have a really solid lineup with Dalvin Cook and Zeke, Devonta Smith. He's got some solid names on there all the way down the whole sheet, including a kicker that has put up I think close to 20 points this one game this year. So I think we'll go either way. I'm leaning Rock Boys, but just for ease later on in the playoffs, I kind of hope that Fentanyl knocks him out.
Yeah, no, I to your point though on the receivers on T. Higgins went down with that ankle. You never know how someone's going to respond off an ankle injury because we saw Mike Williams come back after being off for a month. First play goes and makes a jump ball, comes down weird on his ankle, and he's out. Mm-hmm. So it's always one of those things. And Amari Cooper, the guy throwing the ball has looked awful in the 2 games he started, and he looks like he hasn't played football in 2 years. And sure as shit, he hasn't. So, he's probably going to be lining up against Humphrey, and that's a tough matchup. So I see Cooper maybe not having as good of a week as he possibly could, but so Rock Boys is still where I lean, but that's definitely the area where I think this game gets a lot closer is if those receivers have injury issues and quarterback problems. But moving on here to mine, I think the projection speaks for itself. I don't have a ton of confidence going into my matchup unless Fields wants to go off for 50 points, which could. He's done it twice this year. Kamara's got a good matchup, but Stevenson's been letting me down. Debo going down, Pierce going down. That really puts kind of a halt to my team. Those guys who I was carrying or riding all year. So I did get the Bucks defense in there. So against Cincy, I got to swap that out. So I'm making a move there. I think I'm touchdown independent with a lot of my guys, and I think Milkman has just been on a roll, and that's just a team that I don't want to play. He's just been putting it up week in, week out the last month, so we'll have to wait and see. But I think the projection is probably about right here. I think I'm going home, and it's probably about it for me. What do you think, Fino?
I think the one thing you have going for you is with a tough Philadelphia defense, Fields might be forced to scramble, and when he scrambles, plays happen. But you're down Debo right now. That's not great, and then if Stevenson goes down, that's just like a wrap right there. But you do have a solid team going, and Christian Watson, he's pulled through for you before, and he's up against the Rams, so you might get a little bit of a early Christmas gift out of that. But going down Milkman's list, like unless something weird happens, I mean, every single name on there for the most part is just like someone I wouldn't want to have to face off with. Henry, Akers, Tyreek, 49ers defense, and then even, T Bass. Like this is a stacked team. So anything can happen, but I think we're all hoping that you knock the Milkman out. It'd be a lot tighter of a playoff, but right now the 2 teams I don't want to have to face are definitely Milkman and Connor. So
yeah. Close this out here, George.
Yeah. I mean, Milkman has a really good team. I mean, so you get down to his tight end and flex, Michael Gallup, you're going to need him to catch a long one or catch a touchdown.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the play he's going to stick with. I noticed that too, but
yeah, he just has a good team. I'm glad that I'm not going to be playing him this week. with my guys having tough matchups.
Yeah, this was one that
I
could be
think
an
he would
upset
be-
special for
I
you.
think he would beat me this week. So I'll say that.
Yeah, we need a miracle.
Yeah. I hope you win.
Fingers
Me
crossed.
too. Yeah, I hope I win too. But if I don't, it's been a good ride. But moving on to the last matchup of the playoffs, we have Team Bucher in the 5 seed, and somehow resident coach Phenom, Lord of the Chains, holding down that 4 spot. What are we thinking in your matchup this week?
I'm not feeling too good about it, but one thing that I will say is it's like a positive and a negative. Geno Smith's up against that San Francisco defense. That kind of hurts me as far as DK goes, but at the same time, that might be a force multiplier for me if my running backs show up. I'm going with Cousins over Brady this week. I know Brady, he's got the motivation to take his team, secure that lead spot. But Cousins played great last week, so I gotta play him.
By that hand, yeah.
I'm a little torn on the defense who I'm gonna end up playing, but one injuries are always negative, but one bright thing to come out of Samuel going down is I think Kittle might actually get a little bit more play action this week. I picked up Elijah Moore, who against the Detroit defense, I think we're going to see some good stuff out of him. So as long as my running backs show up, I think we got a game. If my running backs continue on the trend they've been on the past 3 weeks, then I hate to admit it, but I'm leaning Team Bucher. Regardless of this, he's just Jonathan Taylor, Lamb, and then Geno Smith. He's just been like, this guy's been like cracking 110, 120 points every week. So, he's started out, as an average team and has moved up to be a team to be reckoned with. And this is probably one of the hardest, games I've faced in a while, and I've been on a losing streak. So,
yeah, George.
Yeah, I think Purcell has some tough matchups. Kirk Cousins will be fine. Chubb at Baltimore is going to be tough. I think Saquon will do all right at Washington. Anybody playing against San Fran's defense is not ideal. I think this one will be pretty close. I really like Bucher's team, but I think this week it'll be pretty close.
Yeah,
Depending on what Kenneth Walker does.
Yeah, it's kind of where I'm looking as to where this game can really kind of flip for the Phenom here is, Kenneth Walker hasn't done much, and then again playing that San Fran defense, that's tough. Geno, if you get 17 out of him, I'd be shocked almost. But I mean, if they're down like how it was last week for the Bucks, that's a lot of throws, a lot of garbage time. They're just gonna be chucking it around, and Geno can do that. He did it last week and got a real nice garbage time TD to Marcus Goodwin. But yeah, I think like you said, that Chubb against the Ravens is pretty tough. We usually I say we, but the Ravens usually bottle him up pretty tightly. I think if you look up the stats, I don't think he's rushed more than 50 or 60 yards versus them. So touchdown dependent play there. Saquon's been on a downtrend, and DK's got a tough matchup. So I do think you probably finish near your projection, because I think Kirk feasts a little bit against Indy, and Elijah Moore probably has a good day. And Kittle, to your point, I think will get more involved in the offense with Debo going down and a rookie quarterback back there. They always love tight ends, so it's probably a good play. I still lean Bucher just based off what he's been doing the last month and a half, really since we started doing this weekly call. But yeah, I think this one's going to be pretty close. I think the projection might come down to a 1 or 2 point game. I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm really worried about Tony Pollard, I'll be honest, but one thing that might go in my favor is Jacoby Myers, I think, might be favored as a wide receiver against Las Vegas. And then if Ramondre goes down, I'll probably bump Damian Harris into that flex spot and bank on him.
If he plays, he hasn't gotten on the field in a while.
Yeah, past 2 weeks hasn't done shit. So
yeah, he's been out with injury, but yeah, my thing with Jacoby Myers, he has the ability to do it. It's just who's throwing on the ball. That's really the problem. It's kind of like any like a Cortland Sutton problem. It's not the player, it's the guy throwing on the ball, and that's just
Brady back in New England. That might happen next year.
I'd be kind of shocked, but we'll have to wait and see. But that's the breakdown of the guys in the playoffs. Just honorable mention to the guys in the bottom here. Team Coleman put up a nice fight. Dipper, Little Dicker Downs, and honorable mention way down there for Team Nate. We'll have to figure out exactly how we're going to do the draft order, but I think the plan is, at least for the first round, to be based off of regular season standings, and then whether we're going to do snake or we're just going to keep the same order, it remains to be seen. I guess depends on how many keepers we have, or just league vote. We'll put that out at the end of the year. But just to kind of highlight some stats, I mean, this is why I think Georgia's team is just the team to beat. That's outscoring everybody in the land. Yeah. So with that being said, kind of highlighting that amount, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and we're gonna get into a little interview here with the regular season champ. So Phenom, please feel free at the end if you have any questions. You can throw them in there too. But I prepared a few. So just gonna go down the list here. Just kind of going into the season, what was kind of your draft strategy, and what do you think you really nailed, and what do you think set yourself up to have this kind of run, or feel good about the draft, or just kind of feel where you are?
I actually hated like my first 3 picks in the draft. I was not too excited with my first 3 picks. I think I went Justin Jefferson, which, I mean, he's the only receiver that I guess I'd be excited to get in the first round, but I'm usually a running back in the first round kind of guy. And then I took James Conner, and he's been okay. I was unsure about him. I feel like every league I'm in, he always ends up on my team somehow. And then Josh Jacobs, or I don't remember if Josh Jacobs or ETN was 3, but I think I picked, after the first round, I picked 3 running backs in a row. And I knew that they were all going to start, and, I had a solid flex there. I knew my team was going to be good after I got DeAndre Hopkins, I was like, I just have to make it to week 7 or whatever it is. And if I can have like a winning record or be around 500, I'll be, pretty set up.
Yeah, it's a pretty dominant two-headed monster. And what gave you did you draft Jamal Williams, or was that a free agency pickup?
Yeah, he was just a handcuff. I know that DeAndre Swift gets hurt a lot. I watched Hard Knocks, really like Jamal Williams. They always have loved him at the goal line.
Yeah.
So,
and league in the lead in touchdowns. So obviously it was a good strategy for you.
Yeah, but he was awesome. Yeah, in the beginning, before D-Hop and everybody was back.
Right. But that makes a lot of sense how that went down, because you say it now, you're thinking about it back then in August. It's like, man, I don't know, taking Justin Jefferson in the first round had a lot of hype around him, but it's like, I know what you mean. I love taking running backs early off the board. It's tough to go with that. But when did you realize? I think you kind of hit on that already. But when did you kind of realize like you were the guy to beat?
The middle of the season, once D-Hop came back, and I think I had like 3 or 4 weeks in a row, like 150 or something like that, or over 150. And I was like, okay, like my team has, pop off potential. Jamal Williams made it really, and Gabe Davis when he was filling in before D-Hop came in. Like I said, I knew when D-Hop got back on the field, if I had a winning record or even was like 500, I'd be all right. Yeah, probably mid-season. I think I started off 1-2, and then mid-season.
Yeah. And then just kind of going into the playoffs here, what's kind of your expectations for yourself, and where do you see yourself finishing out?
Well, obviously it would be disappointing to not, if I didn't win at all, because, I do have the best record kind of by far in the league. I think I've beaten everybody. I'm not sure this year.
Probably. Wouldn't shock me.
But yeah, I mean, if I don't win the whole thing, it'd be pretty disappointing. I mean, just because of my record.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do think I have a good team. So
absolutely, yeah. I think your record and your points for shows that. And then just last question for me, just if it's not you, who is it? Who's going to be the champion if you can't take it down?
Milkman.
You like the Milkman?
Yeah,
I like that pick.
Like I said, if I think he would beat me this week, if I played him the first round, this week with the matchups I have, the matchup he has, I think he beats me.
Yeah,
So
that
I
yeah.
just gotta hope if I make it, and make it to him, I catch him on a good week for my team.
Yeah. It's let's see, what would the well, you would meet him, you wouldn't meet him probably until the final, most likely. So but if we get some upsets or we get the favorites to come in, we could be a little bit sooner. But yeah, that's it for me. Priscilla, you have any questions for the regular season champ? When I wish him any luck for being the reigning champion. What does it take to be the champion?
Honestly, I think draft strategy is huge. Not pulling tempting quarterbacks first round that we've seen several teams do this season. It hasn't done anything for them. So smart move. Definitely grab a running back up first or the top receivers, and you grabbed one of the top receivers. Jefferson's proved that, but if there were any other team I'd hope to see make it, it would be you for sure, just because your record's impeccable. But my one question to you would be like, who do you see being the most trouble that you might run into on your way to the championship?
Hold on, go back to the
Yeah, I'll pull
bracket.
this. Sure. Let me share this one, and then boom. All right, so you play, and so you get the lowest seed available. So you probably, based off our projections, Rock Boys moves on, Milkman moves on, and I think Bucher. So you'd probably get Bucher second round, and then you probably face Milkman or Rock Boys in the final.
They're all really good teams.
Yeah, agreed.
And I think it could be, just anybody could beat anybody any week. Between Rock Boys, Milkman, and Bucher, honestly. Like I said, I'd at least like to see Milkman. I guess it's good if I see him because it's in the finals, but yeah, he's probably the one I'm most worried about.
Yeah,
And
there's yeah. Go ahead.
final question I'd say is, who would you consider your biggest rival out of the bunch that's left that you might end up facing, that you have already projected those three teams?
Who do I think is going to be there in the end, you mean?
Who would you consider the biggest rival if you ran into them?
I think Rock Boys. I mean, just because of the 1-2, 1-2 matchup.
Love it.
I think that'd be cool to see.
That'd be
He has a really good team too.
Sure.
Yeah, iron sharpens iron. That's what they say, right? But that being said, playoff podcast, a little bit quicker format, a little bit rocking and rolling. Phenom, anything you want to say before we hit the playoffs here?
We went through the realistic projections on everything we think's going to happen, but weird stuff happens in football, as we see. Rams came back and blew out the Raiders this week, and that's what Coach Phenom's going to do with his crew this week. So,
Hell yeah.
I projected. This is just a shot in the dark, but I project it being Connor versus Phenom in the end. So
I like it. George, any closing thoughts? And thanks again for joining us, man. Appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Just good luck to everybody. Tell your team get some rest. When you talk to them in the locker room, everybody rest up and good luck.
Yeah, when you're 12-2, you don't got to talk a lot of shit.
So
yeah, us 7-7 guys got to talk a little shit to get the guys going a little bit. But no, man, been a good year, been fun. It was really cool seeing the last week having four of the 5 teams fighting for that last spot. And that was really fun. So hopefully we can keep that going in the upcoming years. But no, man, I'm hoping for some upsets. I'm hoping to shake some things up. It'd be fun. It's, all chalk isn't always fun. So that being said, Phenom, I hope you take an L here. Really would love to see it. George, I'll see you in the finals. Or probably I'll see you in the second round because my team sucks. But we'll see what we can do. But with that being said, good luck to everybody. Set your lineups and say goodnight.
All right, take it easy, fellas.
Thanks again for joining us.